Good morning. Welcome to Avon Valley Church's Thought for the Day. My name is Andrea, and I am in Winchester, Virginia. Part of the hymn you just heard is my favorite hymn, and this morning I want to share with you how I started my faith journey and why the first song of Isaiah is my favorite hymn. When I was growing up in church, joining the youth group was a big deal. It was a rite of passage to some extent, and it was how most youth in the church started their faith journey. I couldn't wait until I was in seventh grade. I couldn't wait until I was in the seventh grade, the official grade you had to be in order to join youth group. At that time, it was called MYF, Methodist Youth Fellowship. Tom Berlin and Will White were youth group mentors to new members of MYF, and I had looked up to them since my latter years of elementary school as I anxiously awaited my time to join the youth group. They were already in high school when I joined, and I joined youth group because of them. On that first evening of youth group, they met me at the door, welcomed me, and made me feel at home. Our fathers had all worked together, so there was already that level of comfort and trust. They made me feel important and valued. And I must add that both Tom and Will are now well-known Methodist ministers in their own right within the Virginia Conference, and to this day continue to inspire me in my life of missions. Being a member of the youth group over the years was great fun. I felt confident, empowered, and loved. There were youth retreats all over Virginia, and as the years passed, I became the mentor to new youth members as Tom and Will had been a mentor to me. So Sunday evenings at MYF was my sanctuary. It was my home. The hymn you heard at the beginning is the first song of Isaiah. When I was in ninth grade and Tom and Will were about to graduate from high school and go off to college, Tom approached me and asked me if I would like to join the youth choir. I had to stop and think about it. I was already a member of the school choir and was already a member of youth group, and I really didn't want another commitment to sing those old hymns from the hymnal every single Sunday. But as Tom looked at me pleadingly, I said, okay, I'll try it. Because when Tom and Will asked me to try something, I could never say no. I must admit I wasn't really looking forward to singing in the choir. This was a one-time thing only. It was a favor to my mentors. I entered the room and sat in the front center chair of the youth choir room. There were about 10 or 12 of us, all knowing each other, and a couple of us there for the same reason, a one-time favor for friends. The first piece of sheet music was handed out, and we all together grudgingly opened it to see what was in store for us. None of us had ever heard this hymn before. Before we started singing, Doris Sartell, the director, told us to listen first before we started reading the music. Doris opened her music, placed it on the stand of the piano, and began playing. As she played the first few bars and started to sing the verses, I sat there not being able to speak. I remember sitting there not being able to breathe for a moment because the music and the words left me in awe. Growing up in the Methodist Church, most of the hymns we sang from the hymnal were the old hymns, most of them written by Charles Wesley, which now I enjoy reading, but to me as a 14-year-old, I found them to be quite sad and depressing. The first song of Isaiah was written by Jack Noble White in 1976, and I was listening to this for the first time as a high school freshman in 1981. Listening to Doris play and sing this beautiful new hymn, I felt uplifted. I felt inspired, and I felt a sense of peace and love I had never felt before while listening to a hymn. Those words gave me a great sense of comfort as I had entered that awkward stage of my early teen years. It was the first new hymn written in my time from my generation I had ever heard, and I was completely awesome. And that's not a word I often use. I immediately felt connected to the words. The first stanza, surely it is God who saves me. I will trust in him and not be afraid. For the Lord is my stronghold and my sure defense, and he will be my Savior. I felt those words were written just for me. I could relate to them on a level I could never relate to any other hymn. They impacted my life in a way I cannot explain. When I first learned this hymn, I didn't really know who Isaiah was or why it was written. Over the years, I am slowly learning about the prophet himself and his life, but as a 14-year-old, I only took notice of the uplifting melody and the words, which made me feel less alone. Throughout the years, I have many, many times referred to this hymn in these words in times of trouble or doubt. This has always been my go-to hymn when I needed prayers or when my faith is less than solid. I hope you will share with me your favorite hymn and how it impacted your faith journey. As I close, I will play the chorus again. Goodbye, and God bless.